Good evening, everyone. It's 5:30, and I welcome all of you to our second Zoom call for this month. As you've been reading on Facebook and via other messaging, that we're putting these together to provide information to all of you from various experts on our campus. As you can see on your screen right now, we have the list of all the forthcoming sessions. Please take a moment to note that down. Um, Welcome once again. My name is Vanita Dillon, and I am the parent liaison for the campus. And I wear a couple other hats, and we can talk a little bit more about that if there's time at the end. Um, I will place my phone number in the chat so you guys have it and you can reach out to me as and when you need it. But before we get started on the topic of the evening, I'd like to put forward a few housekeeping items before we welcome our presenters from Housing and Res Life. So please keep your devices muted for the presentation, and please take the time to write out your questions to us in chat. I will field them after our presenters are done and open up the floor for Q&A. I can appreciate that some of you might be in your cars or unable to provide a written question. So we'll save a few minutes at the end of the presentation and so that you can unmute and ask your question verbally. So don't worry about that if you're not able to put your question in chat. If there's any personal information or question specifics, you don't need to put them in chat. I'm sure our presenters will be happy to share their contact information and you can reach out to them directly. And you always have orientation@csum.edu available to you to send specific questions. So just keep that in mind because this call is being recorded and the chat will also be part of that recording. For questions unrelated to housing and Res Life, I know you have all sorts of questions for us, but we want to focus on our topic for today. At the end, if there's time, we can certainly attempt to answer those, but it's best to answer those questions via the experts that you'll meet throughout this month. So be patient with us and we'll do our best, but kind of might have to tell you that we'll get back with you on those other topics. With that, it is my pleasure to invite our Housing and Res Life folks to introduce themselves and take us through what they've planned for the evening. Take it away.
There it is. Sorry, your mute button moves the second you put up the main screen. I hope everyone can hear me okay. There's a chance my internet's saying a little unstable, so there's a chance I may have to plug up to the other computer if for some reason becomes unbearable. But my name's Lennon Prothero Jones. I'm the Director of Residence Life here at Cal Maritime. With me tonight is Melinda. I think I saw Melinda a second ago. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Melinda Balfour, and I'm the lead Res Life coordinator here on campus.
Awesome. So we're going to take a few minutes and really try to talk a little bit and give you like a bit of an overview of the Cal Maritime Res Life experience here. And so with that, we'll start with some of our positions. So we have several professional staff positions as well as some cadet leadership roles here within our team. So you met myself, Director of Residence Life. The lead coordinator for Residence Life is Melinda. We also have Res Life coordinators. There's 2 positions for that. Those are live-on full-time staff who directly supervise the Res Hall officers, who we'll talk about in a second, as well as serve as both a support component as well as an engagement component for the residential life team. So that includes providing, like I mentioned, supervision to the RHOs, but it also provides sort of mentorship, support, guidance to the cadets while they reside on campus, as well as an on-call component where in regards to our evening hours, our potential crises and other concerns, that they're present for that. Additionally, we have a commandant in residence. I think you'll get an opportunity to meet with the commandant's office if you go through the series, but we have one of the commandants who resides with us, serves as a bridge between our two offices, as well as performs crisis response and some engagement components in regards to the residential experience. In regards to cadet leadership roles, we have a few there. We have our student hall director. So that is one cadet who's kind of in this sort of paraprofessional role, kind of in between where our RHOs are and the professional staff, and serves in a more higher leadership and guidance mentorship role for the team. And then we have our residence hall officers, which, if you're familiar with other traditional college settings, these are your RA equivalent here at Cal Maritime. And so we have them spread across all halls representing all majors. Directly probably going to be the person who most connects with your cadet as they attend the academic year with us and their academic future with us. And then we also have the student assistants, which work at our housing office. So we have about 5 of them who work in our office and kind of are like the front facing members of our team. This part is, kind of significant, and you probably picked up on it by now, but so we do have a residential live-on requirement. This means that Cal Maritime is a residential campus. So our primary goal when it comes to navigating experience here at Cal Maritime is for cadets to live on campus. Now, there are some exceptions on the campus. Will find that they will spend their entire academic experience living on, with maybe some rare exceptions where they may find themselves on the ship if they're not actually physically on campus, obviously through some of our summers and things like that. The meal plan, though, we won't go into great detail about that today. Meals and nutrition on campus, but with that live on requirement, obviously they have the meal plan component, and we do have some kitchen areas and other spaces to support even some of their takeaway meals and things here within our res halls. So yeah, as like I mentioned before, when we get towards the end, we'll have an opportunity to talk about some of those alternatives down the line, but this is kind of the basis of most of the cadet experience. So our general vision, really is to do our best to provide a safe and engaging, encouraging environment for the cadets. So Melinda, who's been here for a few years now, can probably, when we get into some of the questions and things, speak to a number of different ways that we've engaged our cadet community. Really, we're aiming to develop so many of these areas that you kind of see on the screen, but we're working not just by ourselves, we're working directly in tandem with the entire division to achieve these things. So that's the Commandant's Office, that's Career Services, the Health Center, that's our EOP program. There's so many facets of what we do, and Housing and Res Life is very much a conduit of the campus community. That would be the case on any college campus, but particularly here where we're all sharing in that governance. The cadet population, in particular, even like housing all of our AS associated students. So that full representation of great feedback loop when it comes to getting feedback from the cadets and how they're living through this experience, but definitely something that actively developing, whether that be by programs, by indirect mentorship, and taking steps like that. So we're going to look at the 2 residence halls that all first-year cadets will be residing in. I think everyone on this call is overseeing first-year cadets. So if you did have a question about another hall or the future halls, even though they're not in this presentation, we'll be able to answer some of those questions as we move. McAllister Res Hall, it's our suite style hall, so it's slightly different than some of the other ones. It has, it's all first-year cadets, so both of these halls are only first. With the smallest caveat, we have some cadets who never lived on campus last year who will get that traditional first year experience, but that's very, very few folks. So primarily we're talking first year cadets in these halls. In the case of McAllister, that's a double occupancy with another cadet, but then their restroom setup is 4 cadets per restroom. So every 2 rooms is a restroom. There's multiple study lounges, TV lounges, game room, and laundry facility in McAllister. And it's right next to our Bodner Field, which is like a great little side access. This hall has its like special feature. I think this hall has its not just the suite style, but it's access to sort of the athletic side of campus. And so it's a little bit easier to get to those sporting events that we have going on. Our offices are. Upper res is this area, the red long brick building. And so this is more traditional style hall, which has 200 first year cadets in it. The way I would say traditional is it's what you see in the movies. It's what you see in the TV shows. When you think of a college res hall or college use a lot, this is our traditional style with the common restroom, a lot of common space. Similar to McAllister, 2 cadets to a unit. In those furnishings, I will express that not only do they get like a desk, a sort of drawer, dresser type setup, they get an armoire closet setup, but they all come with a mini fridge and a microwave in them as well. So if that was something you as families were thinking about looking for, thinking about bringing, it already comes with a mini fridge and microwave for the cadets to share as well. And then similar to McAllister, it has multiple study lounges, game room, TV rooms, laundry facility, but Upper Res Hall also has our barbershop. So there are part of the regimented side of things. You'll be able to get a lot more context on the regimented side from the commandant's team when you meet with them. But the barbershop is here, so that's a bit more convenient, and the cadets don't have to go off campus to be able to get a fresh haircut. So we all have our offices up here. Some of the commandants have their offices here in Upper Res Hall, as well as we have some of our part-time counselors who are here in this specific hall and have some of their offices here, as well as we have some of the learning components. So we have some peer mentors and that are in this office. So we go to every hall, but some of our main staff offices are located in this location. So very accessible for the cadets, and it's only a stairwell away from McAllister. So for your cadets, they pretty much have very close accessibility to us directly as professional staff in the res halls, but then additionally to main campus, as there are only a couple of stairwells away from the main campus themselves. Probably key information folks are curious about info. Those went out today. So your cadets should have received those today. We saw the messages going out. They kind of go in waves. So there's a chance that even though we hit send all at once, they land at different times. So definitely check in with your cadet today to see about if they received their letter. The letter has a lot of details in it. Not all of it's housing details. It does have other details from our health center, from the orientation group in there, but we link back to some of their resources. So keep an eye out for that. Work with your cadet to see those letters in regards to the move-in day. But move-in day for all first-year students is Tuesday, August 31st. No sooner, and realistically, no later. You want to get here because that is the best way to fully participate with orientation. I'm sure Benita will probably remind me that it's mandatory anyway. So all cadets should get here on the 31st. Plan on that being the plan. As we stressed, there are no early arrivals for move-in. We don't really have for us to be prepared for orientation, we really can't have folks arrive earlier than that. So it's really, really important to understand that bit as we navigate moving forward. And then for off-campus, so I know I mentioned a second ago about off-campus, and we wanted to let you know this because there may not be another setting where you're around the housing staff. So we wanted to kind of tell you about the collegiate experience. So most cadets, if they are traditional aged like fresh out of high school, or maybe 1 year, another university transferring in, 19, 20 years experience living on. So I think accept that part. Now, if you are a parent or a guardian or loved one of a cadet who is somewhere in consideration. So if for the age consideration, that is 26 years of age at the beginning of the academic year. So that's the August of the academic year. So if for some reason your cadet's, let's say, already 20 to Cal Maritime for the first time, there might be a possibility that they could category to get a housing exemption to live off. If we have some cadets who are coming in from different ages, who maybe already had different walks of life beforehand. So if someone's already married and or has primary parental custody, so sort of like the family category, if someone's who's not a cadet live on campus, for their ability to live with their partner, they could, provide those details in regards to living off. Parental custody, they can also show the paperwork that they are the primary, primary custody of a child. And that would be another example. A military veteran, most military veterans are usually in, not maybe always at the 26 age range, but they're often still have an active component that could see them leaving and being off campus. Time license. I actually have Melinda speak a little bit that category in just a second when we get into the toward the end of this slide. Sometimes our facilities just do not meet the needs of the cadet. That is something that is done through our disability accommodations office. So you can kind of navigate through them. And they just let us know. Once we don't really do much on the medical side except get notified, hey, this person's been approved to be off campus. Okay, go ahead. We also can accommodate a lot. So if someone did have a medical reason that they weren't certain that they'd be eligible to be on campus, submitted that, and they were like, actually, we can't accommodate that need, we'll just get notified and do what we can to modify their assignment or the room itself to meet that accommodation. And then financial hardship is very, very broad to say. So something where a person goes directly to financial aid and talk them. Financial aid will work fully with you around if financial hardship applies to your situation. If they find that it does, similar to accommodations, they'll notify us and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and approve this person. So that's kind of how that section works. This is typically done during the spring semester when we do kind of like the room retention, room selection process for returning cadets. So from our mindset, the only time your cadets treated like a new cadet is right now. From that point on, they'll be treated like a returning cadet for the remainder of their academic time. All returning cadets do room selection, roommate selection in the spring. Like for example, this year, this process was completed by May 1st. This upcoming academic year, it actually may even be completed slightly earlier than that. So it's really, really important just for your own back of mind. If you think one of these situations may apply to your cadet at some point in their college career, think about the spring semester for their application for. If you have, I would say the ones that kind of pop up potentially mid-year, that could be merit, could be medical accommodation, it could be financial hardship. Always feel free to start reaching out to us. We may refer you to the correct people, but you can always reach directly out to us to get some guidance on what the best next steps are. We just often remind folks, don't sign up and sign a lease before getting this approval. That's why we try to have it done in the spring, so cadets have 3, 4, 5 months to really know what their status is so they can make the best decisions for themselves. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about our cleaning practices as well. Or actually, before we do that, Melinda, could you speak to the license, the license section for just a quick moment?
Yeah, I think that goes hand in hand with military and veteran, and with those that may be a little bit older and have some life and work experience. And so if you do fall into one of those categories and you do have one of the maritime licenses, you can definitely let us know. We can look into that for you in regards to being granted off campus.
Thank you. Thank you. Melinda is my expert on all things. So thanks for looking out for us there. So talking about our cleaning practices, the main thing is that we don't clean the cadets' room. So that is on them to clean. There are The Commandant's team will talk a bit more about what the room walkthroughs look like and how those are done for first year cadets. But in regards to common area cleaning, that's done, all common areas are cleaned twice a day. So those are our study lounges, our game rooms, our bathrooms, areas like that. In most of those, in all of those spaces actually, we'll have cleaning supplies there. So even though we're cleaning twice a day, they'll always have the ability to say, you know what, I'm not comfortable, I'm not sure, I can wipe this area down myself before use. I can wipe it after use if I make a mess. So that's kind of the way we approach general cleaning throughout the halls. The high traffic areas are wiped multiple times a day and cleaned down multiple times a day. So that's more like our stairwell handles, as well as entrances and exit handles and things like that. So things that are gonna be engaged by every cadet on a daily basis are actually cleaned multiple times a day. I don't have a perfect schedule for that, so I don't want to commit to what that number is, but I know it's more than times a day as the custodians move throughout the community. We don't directly provide what to bring lists in this particular section, but that is something that your cadet will need to probably, for their own personal use, have their own sort of cleaning supplies and things. But we do have some opportunities that if the community wanted to get things almost like a program or an event, they wanted to do some cleaning, spring cleaning type event or things like that, that is where we can support some additional supplies for them. And so with that, 6 of housing. So I know that housing provides such a wide range of experiences. So definitely feel free at this point. I know it looks like there might be already some questions in the chat, but I'll leave this up for a second so people can kind of capture this, and then we can close this out so we can start seeing faces if people want to show them to ask questions and stuff. So kind of take a picture with your phone, and then we'll start hopping into questions here right now.
Thank you, Lennon and Melinda. I'm not seeing any questions as yet related to res life and housing in chat, but that doesn't mean people won't start getting them out there. There was a unrelated to housing question, more about orientation. And if we have time, I'll cover the day, the 31st, which is the day the parents are going to be around on campus, so that you guys walk away with an understanding of what to expect on that day. All right, is an iron and mini ironing board a good idea or needed? Is one of the questions. Someone want to take it?
I can take it. So yes, it is a good idea to bring it. In residence life, we have a laundry facility area in each of the res halls, but we don't provide a common one. So our cadets do bring their own. You can definitely go to Target or Walmart and buy one of the cheaper irons and get usually a mini ironing board is what people usually buy. So definitely get that for just in case you want to iron your khakis every day, or when you wear your dress uniform, your salt and peppers, you'll definitely want to iron those. So it's definitely a good idea to bring an iron. You may want to communicate though with your roommate to see if that's something that you both can share. So that way you aren't both bringing ironing boards and irons with you.
Thank you, Melinda. Next question is, do students bring bikes and skateboards?
Yes, so bikes are allowed, skateboards are allowed as well. We do have multiple bike racks around campus, in and around the residence hall and on main campus as well. In terms of skateboards, you'll definitely want to read up on the cadet handbook, because there are special regulations in terms of when you can ride your skateboard. But you can use your skateboard when you're not in uniform after hours. You can definitely do that. You just can't ride them in the res halls. You can't ride your bike or get on your skateboard in the res halls. That's all that we ask.
Great. My computer keeps giving me a message that says the connection is not. So if we're freezing, parents, just bear with us and don't hesitate to unmute and let us know if we need to repeat anything. Next question is the laundry coin or card operated?
So both. We've been upgrading our laundry systems during the last couple of years. So we are at the point where they'll take coins, or you can use your credit card or debit card. And we do have in some of our res halls the app where you can use an application you could download on your phone to also pay, and then also track your laundry as well.
Thank you. Next question is, do we need to buy bedding and size of bed, and do the students bring towels?
Yes, so yes to all of that. In terms of the bed sizes or the mattresses, it is an extra long twin size. So whatever your cadets' comfort is or style in regards to comforter and bedding and sheets, you can definitely bring those. Towels for sure, we don't provide any of that. So you'll definitely want to bring that with you. I think there is a question about laundry, about the cost. It depends on the load size. So anywhere from $1.25, which I believe is the smallest load, to $1.75 per load for the largest. And then for drying, I'm pretty sure it's $1.50, just one standard setting for drying. And you have to bring your own laundry detergent.
Thank you. Next question is about parents allowed to move their cadet in. So for right now, we are requesting parents, and the way the drop-off is set up, that you will be dropping your cadet off at the correct res hall, and the student will go inside, but not the parents or the family that's accompanying them. However, we will provide some guidance when you arrive on campus if there is a window of time during the day for you to take a walk through the res halls and or into the room. That might be possible, and we'll share that with you when you arrive on campus. It'll be in your folder, any guidance that we can share with you. But currently, that is not the plan. You will drive up to the res hall, drop your student, and drive back down to main campus, and you'll be parking in what is called parking lot O. That's where we stand right now. Next question, how can we send care packages to the cadets? I'll take that one. You will be meeting folks from our dining services, and they will walk you through those options. And if it's just a good old mailed package, then it's regular mailing. Melinda, could you speak to the mailing piece?
Yeah, so during the first week of school, an email will go out to all of the cadets with their mailbox information and the mailing address. And so once your cadet gets the information, definitely check in with them, and then they can get letters, packages, anything from Amazon, anything that they purchase online, shipped to the school. The address, though, is different from the main campus address. So the 200 Maritime Academy Drive address, that is not the student mailroom address. So you cannot send any items to the general campus mailing address. You'll have to send it to the cadet mailing room, which again, during the first week of classes, all cadets will get an email with their mailbox information.
Thank you, Melinda. So could you walk us through the process for switching roommates or rooms? How does that work?
So generally for roommate changes, so for our first year cadets, we house by our division assignments. So in your housing check-in email that you got today, you'll have your divisional assignment. And so we try to keep the roommate pairings within either your division or within your major group. Sometimes fall semester, if things do not work out and you need to do a change, definitely reach out to our office, talk to your RHO, talk to your Res Life coordinator, just to talk about your circumstance and your situation. We can process room change requests. Spring semester, sometimes there are opportunities to switch roommates, especially if we're doing a cross move with the traineeship Golden Bear. But with us not doing that this time around, again, if you do want to change roommates, just get in contact with our office and we'll try to work with you one-on-one. And that's generally how it is. When you become a upperclassman, in terms of roommate selection, you get to pick your own roommate. So if you find someone, you know, in your classes or from your club or sports team, and you want a room with someone that's not in your division or maybe not within your same major, you'll be able to do that once you become an upperclassman.
Great. I know you spoke about laundry detergent. I just want to confirm, are pods okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. How is the Wi-Fi strength in the dorm rooms of upper res halls?
I say it's pretty good, despite some of the issues that we're having currently. But usually we don't hear anything from students in upper residence hall. So we do have Wi-Fi. We also have Ethernet ports inside the rooms. So if you want to bring an Ethernet cord for just in case Wi-Fi goes down, sometimes that does happen on campus. We have some outages. You could definitely do that. But overall, I mean, Wi-Fi on campus is pretty good.
Thank you. Can we arrange time with the roommates so each can show their parent the room to each of their parents? Feel free to make those plans and have that in your back pocket, ready to execute when you arrive on campus. But again, please look for guidance in your folder with the program on what's going to be allowed and how things can pan out. The way things stand right now, it looks like that's a possibility, but we're just hoping that nothing changes and that we can move forward with allowing parents to look through their students' room. So hang in there and plan ahead optimistically. No worries with that. Next question is, can cadets bring food into their room to eat inside their room, lunch or dinner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and just a follow up on the can parents see the room component. It's mainly about, like, in our minds, the plan is yes. We just want to be conditional on changing circumstances, and I think we all know that we're living in a time of changing circumstances. So our intent is there's a flow of day at the start of the day for every cadet when they arrive. That initial flow won't have really a space for stop by and see the room, but there should be time, reasonable time for folks to be able to come through, see the space, help out with unpacking, things like that, barring any external factors, countywide, statewide, or other, that might change those plans. So look, I think I wanted to give that context so that folks could understand that bit. And then, yeah, so back to you, Vanita.
Thank you, Lennon. When we talk a little bit more about the day, you'll see that there's some complexities in the scheduling piece in addition to the COVID piece, but we'll go through this. Next question is, what is the best size for under bed storage containers for upper res hall?
That is a variable answer. So, and the reason why that's a variable answer is because the beds themselves can be raised and lofted to a greater height. So what that means is that if you were thinking, I'm not promoting Walmart, but I'm going to use them as an example. When I walk around Walmart and I think about the traditional plastic bin, there's two. There's like the thin bin that you probably put like a coat in and you'd slide under a bed when the bed's low to the ground. And then there's like the larger bin you usually would put in a closet or something like that, the size like a cooler. Our beds can be lofted to the height that you could slide the desk under the bed. So there's a multiple options on to the long-term plan of what the cadet would like to have their bed set at. At its natural setting, I would go with a thinner storage, or like think about turning luggage sideways and sliding it under a bed. That's about the traditional size of where the beds are set initially. But if a cadet would like to have their bed lofted to a greater height and set up slightly different, that is an option to which other storage devices can be utilized.
Thank you, Lennon. Could you repeat the amenities in McAllister with regard to fridge and microwave?
Yeah, all residence halls and all residential rooms have a mini fridge and a microwave in it already. So that is across every hall for all 4 years. So that is not Apologies for freezing again when I probably mentioned that earlier. So that would be for their entire collegiate time here. They will have that access to those, and they're already in every space. So that's not a mandatory thing for families or things that they need to buy.
Thank you. Is there an eat-in dining hall option for the meal plan? We'll save that question to get you the most accurate and up-to-date information when we talk to the folks at Food. Physically speaking, a building is available, but what the status is going to be, let's wait till we hear from them. Is there any benefit to being in a cadet leadership role, such as a resident assistant or student assistant? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I'll get started, and I'm sure Melinda can add to this one. There's a lot of benefit. I think sometimes there's the active and passive benefits of a number of different things. I think if this were a traditional university, I would just say at the very start, living on campus is a value. I mean, by all statistical standards that are metrics is across all universities, any student that lives on campus typically performs better. That's because of their proximity to class, their proximity to resources and services and things like that. So obviously being a cadet leader living on campus, you're going to have that same experience just by being here physically, but it's going to be access to professionals, professors as well, and other campus leaders at a more frequent basis to give guidance. Now, one of the things I definitely have noticed since I've arrived at Cal Maritime is that we are a small campus. So many of the cadets will actually have pretty high touch with a lot of services. I think this entire campus is framed to be developing leaders. It's not just the cadet leaders who will get that development, but I think a lot of folks will get that high touch. Some of the direct access will be some of our really specific training that we provide. So for example, all the cadet leaders arrive August 21st. They'll be trained on all sorts of things like mediations, conflict management, crisis response, event management, financial responsibility, all these key areas that they'll need to both perform their roles, but then also help guide, mentor, and support other cadets. So I think it's really easy for a cadet in their first semester, for example, to not necessarily need every service on campus, but our cadet leaders are going to be exposed to all of those folks directly, know them by name, know how to refer to them. So I think it definitely is like a full immersion in or deeper immersion in all aspects of the campus. But if we're all doing our job right, every cadet should feel that experience. So we're hoping that it's not such a significant gap between those benefits. I would say some of the more specific benefits for the RHO role is that they do receive their room at compensation, so they don't pay rent essentially anymore when they're with us, and they do receive a meal plan. And then even with some of the other cadet roles, they also receive either meal plans or stipends or some sort of financial compensation. So even for our student assistants who are in the office, even if they're not holding another role or anything like that, just having your job be in close proximity, being able to walk to work is always going to be a bonus, much like walking to class. So I think that's another added bonus, is that ability to kind of have all of your work value you as a cadet as well. So when I think about midterms, exams, things like that, we're going to edit our schedules to meet the needs of those leaders, because we know and relate to what they're doing. Now, if you're working at Starbucks, they're going to be like, it's the holiday season, we won't need you to show up. We don't, they might take care for your final schedule, but things outside of that may not have as much value. So nothing against Starbucks, I love them. So that's some of those areas of the student leader or the cadet leader.
Thank you,
And I'll
Leonard.
just jump in and add too that we also have opportunities for campus employment. So if you are looking for a job on campus, there are multiple offices that are hiring, including us for our front office. You can work with HR, you can work at the dining center, you can work at the gymnasium. So if you are in need of a campus job, definitely check out the student employment page for those opportunities.
Thank you, Melinda. And I also want to add that the leadership opportunities are definitely some in residence life, but also in the core as an elected member in the student body, as well as athletics. And we're growing that into our community service area as well as in our tutoring area. So there are very many opportunities for leadership roles, and it's always helpful in developing the individual. Back to housing. What is the size of the closet? Something simple.
I'm 6'3", and so I'll say the average closet looks to be about 6 feet tall, about 3 feet wide, something like that, maybe 2.5 feet wide, something pretty standard. Like if you think about a movable armoire or a movable closet, that's pretty close to standard as to what they are. And when I say 6 feet tall, I'm thinking about where the bar is. So I think the bar is about 6 feet off the ground where you hang the item on. So pretty accessible. Maybe it's a little shorter than that, like a 5'10", but those are non-specific. Every room doesn't have the same brand. So by that I mean each hall doesn't have the same brand of armoire. So it can vary a little bit, but you know, if you go to a store and look at a little handheld closet that you can grab, it's pretty comparable to that.
Thank you. Next question about lofting. Can the students kind of change the height themselves? Is there cost involved? Can you speak to that a little bit? Melinda, go for it.
So for lofting, yes, students do have the ability to loft their beds. For the future, we're going to be working on a system where you can put a request in to have your bed lofted. But for this time around, if you come in and you do want your bed lofted, if you're able to loft the bed, great. Just make sure that you're checking in, you have someone to help you. But if you do not and you want someone to make sure that it's set up correctly, definitely talk to your RHO and the housing team, and we can get something coordinated for you.
Just to clarify that on most of the campuses or all other campuses, the individuals, the peer leaders in Res Life are called resident assistants. We're a little different. We call them RHOs, and that's residence hall officers, right, Melinda? So our terminology is just a little bit different. So your student can talk to the RHO to get any of this taken care of. Is there a limit to how high a bed can be lofted?
Yes. On the bed frame itself, there are different settings for the bars to go into. So there's definitely the highest setting that you can take it to according to how the frame is built.
Thank you. Next question. There is in McAllister, there is a bathroom between 2 dorm rooms. Are the restrooms professionally clean like upper res, or are the boys expected to clean their bathrooms themselves?
They are professionally clean. So those are still considered common restrooms because they are externally accessible. So those are still cleaned by our professional staff, our custodial staff. So yeah, just like upper. So that'll still occur.
Are there fixed times when the lights have to be off in their rooms?
No.
I have another parent wanting to know how old the mattresses are because of allergies or special needs.
Every mattress has its own age, I guess is the way I would start that off. There is a sort of a cycle plan that happens with some of those from our facility side. So that is overseen by our enterprise services who does our facility management. But I did a walkthrough of every unit this summer. And so when we see ones that even if they were newer and we are looking at the direct mattress and there was damages or anything like that, those will get swapped out. You'll find that university style mattresses are often kind of different. Like they're made different than your traditional mattress when you think about a home. So they are kind of designed to be mass used, over a reasonable period of time. But I would often remind folks as well to be mindful about any other mitigating tools you can utilize for yourself in any space. So like an example of where that be a mattress cover or any other things that if there are those concerns that you could utilize. I mean, that would be my first recommendation if you feel like there's immediate need. And then if for some reason that your cadet needed something specific about their mattress. For example, one of my siblings has scoliosis, so he has a very specific kind of mattress he has to sleep on or anything like that. Just work with our accommodations office. If there is a specific concern about mattress style, we'll still try to get a twin long to be consistent with all the other mattresses and to meet the bed frame, but we would try to do our best to accommodate the needs of that cadet in regard to swapping out that mattress to the best of our ability, and the office of the disabilities office would work with them for that accommodation.
I'm looking for the contact to provide that in case you want to reach out to our office, disability services office, and the person's name is Siobhan Case. And this is the number that you can reach the office and make any requests. Thank you. The list of items says to bring dishes. Is there a place they can wash those dishes? Next question.
Yes, in each laundry facility areas, there is a large sink for any washing needs, either dishes or clothing items.
You guys are doing such a great job that not a lot of questions popping up. As parents think of what else to ask our experts today, I will start to babble about the 31st and tell you what the day might look like, so you guys have an idea. Melinda and Lennon, the housing office, has sent all the students an email today stating which residence hall they are to report to at what time. And along with that time, your students also been given a time to arrive for their swim assessment. So when you drive up at the right time to show up for your housing check-in, you will be directed to the appropriate res hall, and you'll pull up there. Your student's going to hop off out of the car and will have help from other students who are helping out that day. I have a little bug that's come here to visit, and they will be helped with their luggage into the res hall. They'll check in there. They'll be taken to their room to drop all their belongings. If they've participated in the iPad program, the iPad will be handed to them at the same time. And while that's going on, you will be directed to take your vehicle and go to lot O. You will park there, and adjacent to that lot is what we call PIAC, our Physical Education and Aquatic Center. Inside the PIAC will be a small fair of individuals from the campus who provide services to students. So you could put a face to a name or a phone number. You can meet with many folks on campus. And we also invite some members of our community to be part of that fair. You might be able to see some businesses and our chaplains who are present on campus from time to time. So it's a time for you to be met and greeted by campus services. While your students getting situated, after that, they'll move over to the swimming pool and get their swim assessment out of the way, and you can agree to meet at a certain time, either back in their room if we're doing that, or at PIAC, where the fair is set up. Sometime in the afternoon, 2-ish, you will have shuttles going from that area, Lot O or PIAC, off into main campus, which is where we'll have a small, brief reception for you. before you go in to meet with the president and the cabinet. They have a welcome planned for you while the parents are in that welcome in what we call RISA auditorium. Your students will be prepped for the capping ceremony for that whole hour that you are with the cabinet and the president. When you come out, voila, we'll have a cadet for you at the quad, and we will have a capping ceremony, and you'll see what that is all about when you come out of the auditorium. At the end of that ceremony, you'll have a chance to visit the room if you haven't done so already, and you will be able to take your student out for dinner. If you are not staying for dinner, you're planning to leave that same evening, we will have food for the cadet, no worries. And that's kind of where the day ends for parents. You're not coming back the following day or doing anything past that capping ceremony. We have a program called Cadet Community Connection, and that's students opt into it. It's an opportunity for them to get matched with a local community family and who act as a surrogate family to support them through their freshman year. And those students and parents who are participating in that program will have a reception, and you'll have the details for that when you arrive. That's what the day is going to look like. It looks like, while I was going through this, we have some questions that are coming up. Is there a list of all the things they should bring? Yes, there is a list, and you can find it on our webpage. Melinda, if you can post that link in chat, that would be great. Then I have a question that says, what is the iPad program? So it's a CSU program. Information was sent to your cadet or your student. Please check with them. There was a deadline, and we're past that, and they could have participated in a lease program for an iPad. Next question that Lennon or Melinda can respond to, is it a good idea for the cadet to bring a printer?
I had someone call in the other day and ask a similar question. That might be something worth waiting till school starts to see how their professors would like them to turn in their assignments. So obviously technology's moved a long way. A lot of things will be utilizing electronic means to turn into papers, projects, things like that. But you may have an individual professor who has the own role of their own class who's like, no, I'd like a physical paper put on my desk at the start of the class, and that's how they accept papers. So I would encourage that if we can save you money by giving any unofficial guidance, I would say let the cadets start their first week of class, look at their syllabus before making a purchase like that, or bring in an item like that. They can always bring it if they want to play it safe. And then just take it home over one of the breaks or something if they find that they don't need it. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure there, but there is printing on campus, and it's relatively easy to get around campus to do those printing needs. So really is kind of the path you want to take.
Melinda, could you speak to the other printers that are available to students where they can print? Wifi is what they're called.
Correct. Yes, there are printing stations at each of the res halls. They are called the Wifi stations. And so there is a small cost associated with printing, depending on if you're doing black or white or color. But we do have stations at each of the res halls if you do not bring a printer with you. And we also have them around campus as well.
Thank you. And also thank you, Melinda, for responding to Scott. If anyone else has noted something like that, please reach out to the group, to us. Will they have orientation on Labor Day? Absolutely. Orientation starts, actually, move-in is part of orientation, but they really have sessions and exciting programs that we have been planning for the incoming class, and it'll go all the way till about 4:30 on Monday, which so that's Labor Day. So they will be busy and not be going home or have time to meet up with you until at least 5 p.m. on Monday. Thank you, Melinda, for sending that list. So they will, students will be provided PT gear in their sea bags, which will be placed in every student's room ahead of time. So when they arrive, there will be a box with their sea bag as well as all their uniforms. So they will be wearing their PT gear, which is not like khakis or anything because they're not fitted yet into their khakis. But when you see them at capping ceremony, they're all going to look uniformed in the PT gear. Does that make sense? All right. Does the cadet need a combo lock for their desk?
For the desk, there isn't any locking features for it. There is a locking function for the wardrobes, but that is your personal preference. So if you feel like you want to bring that for additional security, you can, but it's not a requirement.
Thank you. Yes, Jennifer. 2 events essentially actually there's 3. The campus fair is for the parents so that you can meet people, and it'll also give you an opportunity to go to the financial aid office as well as student financials cashier to see if you need to cover any last minute details with regard to tuition and billing, and attend the fair. So that's I count that as an activity. And then there is going to be the welcome session followed by the capping ceremony, and you will have the ability to take your student out. We request that you bring them back no later than 9 o'clock. That is when the campus is going to be considered secured, is 9 o'clock. I just want you to know I had to push for that. The commandants wanted everyone back by 7, and I said, no, hugs won't end by 7. So it's 9 o'clock. We need your students back. Question, for athletic requirements, do the shoes need to be white or any color is fine? Good question to ask when the athletic director is part of campus life, and good question for you to ask her, but I would suspect that there won't be a color requirement. Your student should be able to wear any color sneakers they want. We're at 6:28. I want to take a few seconds for everyone to unmute their devices and give Melinda and Lennon a round of applause.
All right.
Hey, thank you so much, you two.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Great information.
And if there is any parent who was unable to submit their question in chat, please unmute and ask your question now. All right, we will give you back 2 minutes back in your bank of time. And thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday again. Bye-bye, parents.